Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jeff C back with another video, and this time it is a book haul. My wife and I recently went to Oklahoma City, and we went to see Acid Bath out there a couple of weekends ago. A great show, and of course, while we were there visiting a good friend of hers, we went around to some local bookstores, and as per usual, we ended up with a few books that had to come back home with us. Don't you already have a bunch of books at the house you haven't read yet? Yeah, and? Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, before I start, I have I wrote down some of the bookstores that we went to, so I just wanted to give a shout out. I'm not really gonna like say, oh, I got these two books at this store or these books at this place, whatever. So in no particular order, Literati Press, that is in the Paseo area of Oklahoma City. Full Circle Books, that was a really cool place. A lot of I loved the classical literature section of that bookstore. The Floating Bookshop, which is really cool. Commonplace Books was also another really good one. And there's a nice little coffee shop right next door to it. And Second Story Books, which was also really cool. And there was a really nice little barbecue spot just next door to it across the parking lot that we ended up trying out, and really enjoyed it. So yeah, if you're in the Oklahoma City area, check out those spots. First, I'll start with a couple of books that my beautiful bride picked out. Not necessarily something I'm looking to read right now. Obviously, never say never. I will trust her judgment and opinion on these books. It's just that where I'm at right now and the stuff I want to be reading, it's just a different spot. So let's check these out. The first two books are actually from an author that we're both really interested into. We have not read anything by this particular author as of yet. I don't think she has. I have not. But anyway, so she got the little set. This is The City We Became and the World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. Yeah, who knows? I don't really, I haven't really looked too deep into what it's about. The back cover doesn't really, I just read the back cover and it doesn't really give too much. I can read it for you real quick. I'll read the World We Make, because it really says more than the other book. All is not well in the city that never sleeps. Even though the avatars of New York City have temporarily managed to stop the woman in white from invading and destroying the entire universe in the process, the mysterious capital E enemy has more subtle powers at her disposal. To defeat her, the avatars will have to join together with the other great cities of the world to bring her down for good. I don't know. It's not really telling me much, but hey, who knows? Again, I will let my beautiful bride, she's really excited to read these and awesome. If she says they're badass, then cool, man. I'll check them out for sure. Anyway, those are two by N.K. Jemisin. All right, another beautiful bride pick here. This is Animal by Lisa Taddeo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I have not heard of this. We'll say I like the cover. I like the shiny on the cover, and I love books that have this kind of roughed up little edge. I will say also this book has a nice flop factor, so that's always a plus, right? Let me read the back of this for you. I am deprived. I hope you like me. Joan has spent a lifetime enduring the cruelties of men, but when one of them commits a shocking act of violence in front of her, she flees New York City in search of Alice, the only person alive who can help her make sense of her past. In the sweltering hills above Los Angeles, Joan unravels a horrific event she witnessed as a child that has haunted her every waking moment while forging the power to finally strike back. Get him, Joan! Here is the electrifying debut novel from Lisa Taddeo, author of the #1 New York Times bestseller and international phenomenon, Three Women, which was named to more than 30 Best of the Year lists and hailed as a dazzling achievement. And blah, 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 is not talking about the story. Anyway, I don't know. Kind of general, who knows. She, apparently she hangs out with a bunch of dork guys, right? I don't know, Joan, maybe hang out with cooler people. Anyway, who knows? We'll see what it's like. I don't know if I'll ever read this. This next book, actually, there's a cool little story with this. My wife and I and her good friend our good friend, we were at a coffee spot called 30th Street Market. And while we were there, I'm kind of sitting, and my wife's to my left. We're at a little table for four. And to our left, I see a woman, and she brings in a book. She has this book. This is The Book of Love, a novel by Kelly Link. I see it. I see the moon phases. I see that it's kind of a reddish, pinkish color. And when she set it down, once her folks arrived, I could tell that it said "the" there. So I like kind of look. I'm trying to find what book is this, and I'm like, pink book with the moon, and so the first word is "the." I never got anything. Anyway, later on that day, we're at a bookstore, and my wife comes walking up with this book, and I'm like, that's crazy that you got this book. I literally pulled up my Google search. I was like, look, pink book with phases of the moon. I'm like, I was trying to find it. Anyway, awesome. So that is The Book of Love by Kelly Link. I do not know anything about this. Let's read the back. Late one night, Laura, Daniel, and Mo find themselves beneath the fluorescent lights of high school classroom almost a year after disappearing from their hometown, the small seaside community of Loveson, Massachusetts, having long been presumed dead, which, in fact, they are. In the room with them is their previously unremarkable high school music teacher who seems to know something about their disappearance and what has brought them back. Desperate to reclaim their lives, the three teenagers agreed to terms of the bargain their teacher proposes. They will be giving a series of magical tasks. While they undertake them, they may return to their families and friends, but they can tell no one where they've been. In the end, there will be winners and there will be losers. But their resurrection has attracted the notice of other supernatural figures, each with their own agenda, as Laura, Daniel, and Mo grapple with the pieces of the lives they left behind, and Laura's sister, Susanna, attempts to reconcile what she remembers with what she fears. These mysterious others begin to arrive, engulfing the community in danger and chaos. It quickly becomes imperative that the teens solve the mystery with their deaths to avert a looming disaster. Welcome to Kelly Link's incomparable Loveson, where you'll encounter love and loss and laughter and dread, magic and karaoke, and some really good pizza. So, who knows? I don't know. Anyway, that's that. All right, next up is a novel my wife and I both have been kind of interested in. We've been seeing it make the rounds on BookTube. However, this is a really cool hardback edition of Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. Honestly, I read this in the house before I walked back here, and up till then I had really no idea what it was about. I know a few booktubers that my wife and I both enjoy and kind of trust their opinions have said good things about it. So with that, let's read the inside cover. History is seldom kind. In Min Jin Lee's acclaimed and magisterial novel, 4 generations of a poor, proud immigrant family fight to control their destinies while exiled from their homeland. In the early 1900s, teenaged Sunja, the adored daughter of a fisherman, falls for a wealthy stranger at her seashore near her home in Korea. He promises her the world, but when she discovers she is pregnant and that her lover is married, she refuses to bend to his will. Girl, you done been to something already, huh? Instead, she accepts an offer of marriage from a gentle minister passing through on his way to Japan. But her decision to abandon her home and reject her son's powerful father sets off a dramatic saga that will echo down through generations. Richly told and profoundly moving, blah, 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 it goes into, anyway. Yeah, who knows? It could be awesome. It all depends on how the writing is, at least from my point of view. From my point of view, I'm interested. I will, like some of these others, I will let my wife read it and see what she says. And if she's down, she thinks I'll like it, I will definitely be checking out Pachinko, which is, in fact, a novel, Min Jin Lee. All right, next is another pick that my wife found. This is from an author that I have read a little bit of, and but we have it on very high authority that this author is amazing. And I started one of her books, but there were a lot of words I didn't know what the definition of was, and I kept having to like stop and look up words, and I was like, all right, let me come back to this when I've read a little more in my current reading journey. That's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, this author, this is Kate Atkinson, and Normal Rules Don't Apply is the name of this book. Not very big. We are both very excited to check out this Kate Atkinson work. That being said, let me read the inside cover. Nothing is as quite as it seems. In this collection of 11 dazzling stories, we meet a queen who makes a bargain she cannot keep, a secretary who watches over the life she has just left, a man who bets on a horse that may or may not have spoken to him. Everything that readers love about the novels of Kate Atkinson is here. The inventiveness, the verbal felicity, yes, and Sharp's observations on human nature and the deeply satisfying emotional wallop. A startling and funny feast for the imagination, these stories conjure a multiverse of subtly connected worlds while illuminating the webs of chance and connection among us all. Sounds awesome. I am looking forward to reading this. Again, this is Normal Rules Don't Apply by Kate Atkinson. If you have not read anything by her, get on it. All right, next up is a story that my beautiful bride and I are both very interested in reading. It is recently celebrated. I guess now it would be 54 years anniversary. It was written in 1972, and that is Watership Down by Richard Adams. I'm sure most of you know this story. You know, I have not read this, and so I've heard nothing but good things about this story, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's go to the back. A worldwide bestseller for more than 50 years, Watership Down is one of the most beloved novels of all time. Set in England's Downs, a once idyllic rural landscape, this stirring tale follows a band of very special creatures on their flight from the intrusion of man and the certain destruction of their home. Led by a stout-hearted pair of brothers, they journey from their native Sandalford Warren through the harrowing trials posed by predators and adversaries, and towards the dream of a mysterious promised land and a more perfect society. Watership Down, Richard Adams. That synopsis sounds like stuff we have seen in other books, but hey, it's a timeless tale. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know if you've read this down in the comments, please. All right, I believe the rest of these books are books that I picked out. This first one definitely struck true with me. I know that I could imagine me living the life of this central character should something ever happen to my beautiful bride. We are talking about The Old Man Who Read Love Stories by Louis Sepulveda. I had never heard of this book. I had never heard of this author. I just picked it up. I read the little spine. I was like, let's see what's going. Let me tell you what it's about. Antonio Jose Bolivar Proaño lives quietly in a river town in the rain-soaked jungle of Ecuador that is slowly being overrun by tourists and opportunists. Having lost his wife decades earlier, he takes refuge in books, paperback novels of faraway places and bittersweet love delivered to him by the dentist who visits the village twice a year. One day, a greedy trader pushes nature too far, setting an enraged mother ocelot on a bloody rampage through the village. The old man, a hunter who once lived among the Shuar Indians and knows the jungle better than anyone, is pressured by the village's detested mayor to join the expedition to kill the animal. Reluctantly, the old man is forced into the middle of a raging conflict between man and nature that will end in a powerfully climatic confrontation. Who knows? The Old Man Who Read Love Stories. That's me. I will also say it's a very thin book. I think it's only 148 pages. You could read this in an afternoon or, a couple of afternoons, a weekend for sure. Next up is Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay. Penguin Classic. Gotta love it. Let's go to the back and see what we're dealing with. It was a cloudless summer day in the year 1900. Everyone at Appleyard College for young ladies agreed it was just right for a picnic at Hanging Rock. After lunch, a group of 3 girls climbed into the blaze of the afternoon sun, pressing on through the scrub into the shadows of the secluded volcanic outcropping. Farther, higher, until at last they disappeared. They never returned. Mysterious and subtly erotic, Picnic at Hanging Rock inspired the iconic 1975 film of the same name by Peter Weir. A beguiling landmark of Australian literature, it stands with Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, and Jeffrey Eugenides' The Virgin Suicides as a masterpiece of intrigue. Yeah, so Picnic at Hanging Rock, see what it's about. I had recently heard of a book called Every Man Dies Alone by Hans Fallada. It's about a couple who are living in Germany during World War II and the rise of the Nazi Party, and they go on a kind of personal campaign to write little postcards against the party and leave them around town until eventually they are kind of found out, and there's a tale that follows. It sounds very good. I want to read that really badly. While I was at a bookstore in Oklahoma City, I asked if they had that book. They did not, but they did have, boom, The Drinker by Hans Fallada. I saw it, I grabbed it, I bought it. Here we are. This astonishing autobiography tour de force was written by Hans Fallada in an encrypted notebook while he was incarcerated in a Nazi insane asylum. Discovered after his death, it tells the tale, often fierce, often poignant, often even extremely funny, of a small businessman losing control as he fights valiantly to blot out an increasingly oppressive society. In a brilliant translation by Charlotte and A.L. Lloyd, it is presented here with an afterword by John Willett that details the life and career of the once internationally acclaimed Fallada and his fate under the Nazis, which brings out the horror of the events behind the book. All right, here we go with another PC, Penguin Classic, and that is Passing. I love you get these little bookmarks. Anyway, sorry. Passing by Nella Larsen. I've known about this book for a little while. It seems pretty interesting, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to read the back for you. Claire Kendry is living on the edge. You can't help yourself, but... All right, sorry. Light-skinned, elegant, and ambitious, she is married to a racist white man, unaware of her African-American heritage, and has severed all ties to her past after deciding to pass as a white woman. As we all do, right? Claire's childhood friend, Irene Redfield, just as light-skinned, has chosen to remain within the African-American community and is simultaneously allured and repelled by Claire's risky decision to engage in racial masquerade for personal and societal gain. After frequenting African-American-centric gatherings together in Harlem, Claire's interest in Irene turns into a homoerotic longing for Irene's black identity, which she abandoned and can never embrace again, and she is forced to grapple with her decision to pass for white in a way that is both tragic and telling. I don't know, I feel like I'm already be like, Claire, what the hell are you doing? Like, just be you, dude. Ugh. We'll see, though. I'm excited. I've heard the writing is really good, too, so we'll see how it goes. That is Nella Larsen, Passing. I like that cover, too. All right, next up, how many did I get? I don't know, I got 3 more. I didn't even count. Anyway, next up, another Penguin Classic. Dude, I would love to, if I had all the money in the world, I'd just be like, hey, Penguin Classics, just one of every book you make, just give them out to everybody. I don't know. Anyway, let's go. Harry Crews, The Knockout Artist. I love that cover. New Orleans, baby. Anyway, let's go to the back. Eugene Tamaj Biggs is a young boxer from rural Georgia whose champion rise is diverted by a vulnerability or talent for knocking himself unconscious. As he begins to exploit his talent publicly, the notorious knockout artist journeys a hero's descent into the New Orleans underworld, where regulars have long since checked their morals at the door. The unforgettable climax shows Cruz at his virtuoso best when Eugene confronts his truth and sets out to claim his freedom from a role he can no longer play and win his own self-respect. Who knows? Again, it's a nice thin one. We'll see how it goes. Harry Cruz. I don't know if he's related to Terry or not. The knockout artist. This next book is really big on BookTube right now, and for good reason, I'm assuming, just because I know this is a powerhouse American author. However, there's a version of the book that's been going around that I like the cover. However, I am even more a fan of this orange Penguin Classics East of Eden by the John Steinbeck. Looks really cool. Check that out. Like the tree on the back. I saw it. I've been seeing the like kind of white and blackish one that's going around right now. That's really easy to get in most bookstores, and I like that. And it's just, we saw this and I was like, man, this is really cool. I'm not a big fan of the, what is it? I forget what it's called. I keep wanting to say detinted edges, and I know that's not. That's when a turn knob stops at every little interval. Anyway, yeah, Penguin Orange Collection, East of Eden. I'm not going to say what this is about. If you don't know what this is about, then... Last but not least, Yo Easy's No Sellouts. Oh, this one was bought at Commonplace. I got the receipt still in there. Hold up. This is a book that I will certainly not just read through. I'll probably just kind of have it, you know, somewhere in the house, and I'll read it periodically over the course of a few months. It's pretty thick, but that's just not why. It's just something that I think I'll just enjoy perusing. Anyway, this is New York Review Books, Henry David Thoreau's journal. And that is from 1837 to 1861. And how about that cover? That is really cool. And it's literally just his journal entries. I saw like there were some little drawings in there. Let me see, where's it at? I don't know. I saw a couple little drawings. But anyway, I'm a fan of Henry David Thoreau. I've read some of his works. And so I saw this and I was like, yeah, this would be kind of cool. It'd be cool just to go through it and see what it was like. I can read the back here for you. And it says, Henry David Thoreau's journal was his life's work. The daily practice of writing that accompanied his daily walks, the workshop where he developed his books and essays, and a project in its own right. One of the most intensive explorations ever made of the everyday environment, the revolving seasons, and the changing self. It is a treasure trove of some of the finest prose in English, and, for those acquainted with it, its prismatic pages exercise a hypnotic fascination. Yet at roughly 7,000 pages, or 2 million words, it remains Thoreau's least known work. This reader's edition, the largest one-volume edition of Thoreau's journal ever published, is the first to capture the scope, rhythms, and variety of the work as a whole. Ranging freely over the world at large, the journal is no less devoted to the life within. As Thoreau says, it is in vain to write on the seasons unless you have the seasons in you. Anyway, should be interesting. Henry David Thoreau. I'm a fan of his, so this will be nice. And like I said, I'll probably just either have it next to the couch or something, and I'll try to read it over the course of like 3 to 6 months. Who knows? All right, guys, that is it. That is the book haul. Oh, you know what? Hold up. I forgot in here when we were buying it, you know, you get your little bookmark at the store. They had a copy of the Acid Bath concert card. The show that this was actually the day after the show, but it was still sitting up there, so I grabbed one of those. I was like, this will make a good bookmark. Anyway, yeah, so that's the book haul from Oklahoma City. So thank you guys for checking it out. I'm going to be very soon posting kind of like a TBR video. I have always kind of just flew by the seat of my pants when it came to what I was going to read. I'd finish a book and then I'd go look at the books I have and say, what do I remember? What's striking me? I'm going to try planning a month ahead. So I'm going to be doing in the next couple of days a June TBR. I don't know how many books I'll say, maybe 3. I don't know. I've read like 6 books this month. I'm wrapping up my 6th book this month, but I don't want to start out too crazy and say like, yeah, I'm gonna read 6 and then not finish all of them. I don't know. So anyway, keep an eye out on that video. It's coming up. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Let me know what your books you've gotten on a recent book haul, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.